Hi everyone. I am going to show you our first lesson, do a little quick demo. I think you'll have fun with it. I think it's going to be not as stressful and just whimsical and nice. I had seen this Instagram post by a gal named Terry Runyon, and she does lots of whimsical little birds and cats and animals, and I thought, gee, this would be fun to do something along these lines. And you could start off with just shapes and then turn them into birds. Using a pen, like a Pitt pen or a Sharpie pen. You could add the beaks and the eyes and so on. So I had fun playing around with it already. So what I've done is I've sprayed my palette to get the colors all moist, and I have put out, using a number 8 or a number 10 brush, I've put out my different primary colors. So here's the color wheel, and you can see the primary colors are red, yellow, and blue, and if you mix any two of those together, you get the secondary colors. But there are variations in those primary colors. So I've got Permanent Rose here, which, as you can see, is a cool red, closer to violet. And then Scarlet Lake, which is this one right here, and it's closer to orange. Then I've got two yellows, New Gamboge, which is more of a school bus kind of yellow, more orangey, and then Lemon Yellow, which is a little more green toward green, so be right in here. And then Cerulean Blue is a little bit more turquoisey, so it's maybe heading up toward green a bit. And then I've got Ultramarine Blue and Cobalt Blue, so they're more in the middle. Okay, so what we're going to do is not have any preconceptions about what these little birds are going to be like. I've taped down an 1/8 sheet of Arches 140-pound cold press, and you can either cut it the more traditional way, so this would be a 1/4 sheet right here, or you can cut it, you can cut the 1/2 sheet into a longer piece, or the 1/4 sheet into a longer piece. So either way. Okay. So I'm going to start off with not wetting my paper first, and I'm going to try and fit 6 little birds on here. So I'll start off with some Permanent Rose, and I'll do a little glob here. And again, I don't have any preconceived idea of what this is going to look like. I'm just going to stick it on here, and a couple of little squares like that. And then maybe I will put some New Gamboge here while it's still wet, and start to see what happens. It's turning orange. And then maybe a little bit of a blue. Let's take a little bit of a smaller brush. Let's do Cobalt Blue. And put in. So there's kind of a bird looking thing. Okay. Well, now that I've got blue on my brush, let's try another one. We'll do and here's some more of a turquoisey blue. So I'm just doing globs right now. Here's Lemon Yellow. letting them kind of run together and turning into secondary colors. So the yellow and blue make green. Right now they're not much. Let's do a couple more. This time we'll start off with yellow with New Gamboge. And some Scarlet Lake. How about this time we start off by wetting the paper first? So I'm gonna put some globs here of wetness. And this time I will, let's do some of the cerulean and let it just kind of run down. And some of the yellow. Lemon yellow. About some ultramarine. We'll get a fat one here. And a little permanent rose. So it'll turn kind of purple. So I haven't used any secondary colors. And let's do another one where it's wet. Let's do a long, skinny one. Scarlet Lake. And permanent rose. If you pre-wet your paper, make sure you have enough pigment or it'll just be way too light. And I'm going to lift this up and let it just kind of run a little bit. The sponge is for in between if you have too much liquid on your brush, too much water, or if you want to clean off your brush really good in between colors. Now if you get to a point where all three colors mix, all three primaries mix, then you get more of a gray or a brown. One more. This one, yeah, let's wet it again first, kind of like that. Just put a glob of water. Don't think too much about this. Just let the paint do the thinking. And then you can see what happens afterwards with this little doodle. Okay, so I've got my wild shapes. Now I'm going to let those dry a minute. We'll see what happens. This last one was the most colorful. I'll just kind of let those colors bleed together. I'm going to put this down. And I'm going to take one that I did earlier. And so now the fun continues. I'm going to look at this original Instagram and look at how she has put in little top knots and little squiggles and so on, and even added some plants and so on. You can go wherever you want with this, but sometimes it kind of tells you where it wants to go. So this seems to want to be the beak here. And it can be a side view, or you can do kind of a more of a crazy look here. And I love her little top knots that she puts. It seems like it wants to have a feather here, or a wing. So I'll add some little wings. And then of course you want to have the legs. Then maybe it'll have so there's one of my little birds. And you can have lots of fun. Here's a little bit larger pen. This is the SB. The one I was just using was an M, which is a medium. And this is SB Soft Brush. So it will give you a thin and thick line. So this bird is going to have knees and a little bit of buttons on his coat. This one's kind of running out of ink. Grab a better one here. And you could always go in and add more paint later too, because these happen to be waterproof pens. Now I know they probably don't have an extra mouth, but we can kind of make it almost look like it has another mouth here with the beak. This one I love. So see how you can have fun with this? This has got a pitiful little tail and maybe tiny little wings. And if you wanted to add more color, you can later, because the pen is waterproof. Okay, so have fun with this. See you on Zoom.